Hello, and welcome to the Experience Local with Russ and Scott. Each week, they bring you conversations with local Christian businesses and business owners. Join in every Monday live at 9 a.m. Pacific on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. Listen to the program on Spotify or wherever you listen to find podcasts. The Experience Local is brought to you each week by wonderful sponsors.
Copper Rock Real Estate. Commercial and residential real estate in the Mid-Willamette Valley. CopperRockRealty.com. Independent Merchant Brokers. Low cost and no cost debit and credit card processing. 877-460-4747. IndependentMerchantBrokers.com. Join Boson Hub Digital Development in supporting Kicking Cancer. Kicking Cancer provides support, education, and resources for cancer patients, survivors, and families. Kicking-cancer.org. More than just a home, the Arbor at Avamere Court in Kaiser. Arbor at AvamereCourt.com. Assisted living at Avamere at Albany. AvamereAtAlbany.com. Discover Oregon Real Estate. Experts in luxury home sales, farm and ranch, commercial, business sales, and land developments. On the web at dore.llc.
And now, your hosts for the Experience Local, Russ and Scott.
Hey, everybody. It's Russ and Scott. Oh, wait a sec. Scott's not here today. So it's Russ today. We are here on the Experience Local live with Russ and Scott. And today, Scott is traveling, so he's not going to make the show. But we are always so blessed to have the most amazing guests on the show. And today we have an amazing guest, Miriam Haugen, who will be on in just a moment. And I'm going to miss Scott because it's such a blessing every Monday as we record this episode, and it goes live here on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. So thankful that Scott and I can do this together. We've done this for years now, and he is such a good and godly man and great friend, and I'm just going to miss him today. So Scott, wherever you are, hope you're having an amazing day, and so thankful to be with all of you today, whether you are watching us live or on replay, or you're listening on Spotify, or maybe on the radio on KWIL 790 and KYKN in Salem on our Experience Radio Network. Wherever you are watching or listening, we're so grateful that you're here today. You know, we talk to believers in business. That is the subtitle of this show. And we have amazing friends and people that are willing to come on and share value with you, share their faith with you and their family. And we are so thankful for all of them. And Miriam has been such an amazing friend, an amazing photographer, my personal branding photographer, and also taken portraits of my family as well, and does such great work. So anyway, it's going to be a blessing to talk to her. Anyway, I wanted to tell you that we are here every Monday, 9 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time, for your listening or viewing pleasure. Like I said, it does convert to audio podcast and go on the radio, KWIL, 6 p.m. on Mondays, KWIL, and 8:30 a.m. Pacific on KYKN on Saturday mornings. And so I hope you'll listen in to that as well. We have more information about Scott and I and about all we're doing with the Experience on local.theexperience.video. Local.theexperience.video is the best place to go. All the information about the shows we do, not only the Experience Local, but also our flagship show, The Experience Live with Russ and Scott, which is also on Wednesdays at 7 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. And we also do the Experience Backstage, which is every Wednesday morning at 6:30 a.m. on Instagram. And Scott has the Experience, the Waco Experience, which broadcasts on radio now in Waco, Texas. And so it's just expanding all the time. So we hope you check that out at local.theexperience.video. Also, if you just want to go straight to our YouTube page and subscribe today, we wish you would. go to the experience.video. It'll take you straight there. The experience.video. All that information was on the first link, local.theexperience.video. But if you just want to skip all that and go straight to our YouTube page, there you go. The experience.video is the place to go. We would love it if you would subscribe today, and that is growing, and we love it. And we have found that we love doing YouTube shorts, and my pets are way more popular than Scott and I. So you can check out Maddie and Maisie on YouTube shorts as well, and just to have a little fun. So I think that's about all we have for this week to get things rolling. I want to get Miriam in the room and start chatting because she's such an amazing friend and has so much great things to share. Welcome, Miriam Haugen. How are you doing?
Hello. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, as always, you're such an amazing friend, Miriam, and I appreciate you. And thanks for being on today. So let's start off with the basics. For those people that don't already know you, who in the world is Miriam Haugen and what are you up to?
Well, let me see. Okay, so the short answer is that I'm a photographer. So my husband and I have had a photography studio we're based in Monmouth, Independence, and we've had that for many, many years. Done lots of families and high school seniors. Lately, I really enjoy helping small businesses. So the personal branding thing that you referenced, I really love doing headshots and helping people to put their best face forward out into the world. But I also wanted to talk about the Santa experience. I love small children, and I love Christmas. And I realized there was a need for, children are not always really, they're sometimes really nervous and intimidated by meeting Santa in person. They may be very excited leading up to actually seeing him, but then they come face to face with him and they're going, and you can understand how scary would that be. So it is a private experience that we have where the children have lots of time. If they are nervous, they have time to warm up, and yeah, they have about an hour and a half usually that we have to work with, and we do it's a whole experience. So they have milk and cookies with Santa. They find their names in the nice book. They receive a magical gift. And you talked about faith, and some people are really happy to know that Santa believes. I always give the families, not all of my clients are believers, but so I give them a choice. I say, we have both a Christian version of the story and a whimsical version of the story. And the main difference is that with the Christian version, the children pray before they have their milk and cookies. What would be the most appropriate for you? And then they tell me. So it's a non-threatening thing. Many families are very grateful to have that opportunity. But if it's not for them, then we're fine,
Yeah. Well, I mean, I want to back up for just a second because you do so much and you're so amazing. And I definitely love the Santa experience. And I want to, just remind people, amazing family portraits and all of that, amazing personal branding. And you do all my personal branding photography. And I want to thank you for that. Just give a little snippet on that, and then we'll jump back to Santa, because I think businesses don't realize how important it is to really connect with people and show them the real them. And that's what you do through personal branding photography.
They want to see your face. They want to connect with a real person.
Right.
That is so important. And of course, with social media, we have, you talked about, putting your pets out there, and, people want to see. You need fresh content all the time. If you use the same old tired headshot that you've had for the last 10 years, that's, it needs to be freshened up a lot in this day and age. And so I like to help that. And I always like to think about how to tell your story visually, it's not just making you recognizable. That's really important. So that if they do meet you in person, they say, "Oh yeah, I know you." But also just, yeah, how can we dive a little deeper and get into your personality or the personality of your brand, and put that out to the world.
Yeah, and I think that, you have definitely told me that you don't stick with the same old tired, and we've refreshed my headshot and pictures, and I appreciate that. So that's really, I mean, anybody in business today needs to think about that. So I want to talk more about the Santa experience, but first you mentioned faith and you being a strong believer and all that, you do personally. How important is that to convey and through your business? I mean, I know that I am very transparent about my faith here online and all that I do, but I mean, faith really drives everything I do. And I know that it does for you too.
Yeah, I think you just said it. Faith does drive everything that I do. And it's more about being accepting of people, loving people wherever they're at,
Right.
understanding that we're all imperfect. None of us really really achieve that, Christ-like or God-like perfection. That we can't. It's impossible. And so therefore we need to give a little grace to those people
Amen.
who do not aren't sticking the landing, you might say. And hopefully by showing and by loving them that they can see Christ through us.
Well, and I think that you do that so well. And the way that you work with people when you're taking your photographs, and you're so patient and kind and loving through your approach. And so how that relates to when the kids come in, let's jump back to the Santa experience.
Okay.
When the kids come in, that's a big deal, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because you really need, I know when my kids had portraits when they were little, we went to the same person all the time who my kids got to know. And it makes a big difference, spending time and having people that are warm and loving and kind, that they'll take their pictures. So talk a little bit about that, because you're right. Santa can be a little intimidating sometimes.
Well, I do. I'm a little kid at heart, I think. I really love small children. And the whole Santa experience gives me a chance to be in touch with my inner 5-year-old. So, but yeah, I tell a little story to them when they, they'll come and they'll change. Usually they change into the pajamas and nightgowns. I have a whole set that I can provide for people, so they don't have to worry about wardrobe. But I'll sit down with them and I'll tell them a little story about how this box of cookies got delivered to the studio, and it was from the North Pole, and they're made with sugar and snow, and how did Santa know you were coming today? It said there was a note on there saying this is for Susie and Johnny, and love Santa. And how did he know that? So at any rate, it's a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun. But you do have to be patient. There are times where, there are some kids that are just ready after I tell them this little story. And then I say, do you want to have milk and cookies with Santa? And there are some kids that, oh yeah. And then they rush right in and give them a hug. And then there are the other ones that they walk in the door and they go, yeah. So and then you have to, there's a little bit of psychology involved in figuring out what's going to break the barriers and make them comfortable. And you have to be patient. And sometimes we just go, okay, this isn't working. Let's try plan B, which sometimes there are times with really shy children that Santa will leave the room. And they'll start playing with some of the vintage toys that I have, and get comfortable just being in the setting. And then Santa will come into the doorway and just kind of wave from a distance, and then maybe so slowly we'll work them in there.
Well, and it's all a matter of just like when you work with people and adults, listening and understanding the surroundings and what works for them is
Right.
always important. Same, especially with kids, trying to figure out what works for them and what doesn't is so important, because a good photographer which you are, brings that out of them. And so you get those good pictures. And I've seen some of your amazing pictures for the Santa experience, and just incredible. And don't they even walk out with, so talk a little bit more about what they get, because don't they get a storybook and other things if they want it from that
Right.
experience as well?
All kinds of, they're amazing images. One of the things that they can purchase is a storybook that I should have had one here. Oh, well, that tells the story of their time with Santa. It has like 10 photographs in it, and each page has a different, it's a personalized storybook that with all of these really heirloom quality images that I create during the session. And oh yeah, that is one of the things we have wall art that we create. This in the background, I have a one of the options is a 3-image panel that people can put on their wall. So lots of different wonderful wall art and keepsakes that they can create from this.
Yeah, I love that. I love the different things they go with. And I always really love that storybook idea. They're in their own story with Santa.
Yes.
And that, I mean, who doesn't want to be in a story with Santa, right?
Right. You like to read to your children. How cool is it to pull out a book that they are the star of they and Santa
Right.
are the star of the show, and you can actually read it with them. And it becomes something they'll keep for the rest of their lives. They'll read to their children. I mean,
Yeah.
how cool is that?
That's awesome. That is incredible. Well, I know that your family is very important to you. And Neil and you have worked together, your husband and you, on this for years. So talk a little bit about how important he is, and does the rest of your family have anything to do with your business? How does that work?
Well, when our children were growing up, they they all had to work in the business. It was their job to vacuum, take out the garbage, all of that stuff. And I remember our daughter used to complain when she was when she was in high school. She was given a few more jobs when she was in the high school, and she'd complain about what drudgery it was. And I go, do you know how most of your peers would die to have a job like this? I'm working in a photography studio. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
So that was funny. But yes, Neil, actually, my husband, was the one who started the studio. I grew up in a family of avid amateur photographers, and he had access to cameras in a dark room when we got married, and he got bitten by the bug, and was spending all of his time on photography. So we started the studio with him as the photographer initially, but he likes to tell everyone that he dragged me kicking and screaming into the camera room. I don't know if I wouldn't tell the story exactly the same way, but yes, he initially he was the one. Now I am the primary photographer. He's still involved in the studio. He is doing, but he's also doing a lot of video post-production education. So, that is more, he's quite the expert, particularly in Premiere Pro. If you've got any questions about Adobe's Premiere Pro, he's the guy to ask. But, so where were we?
Well, can I jump? Can I
grandchildren.
Oh, yes. Well, let me jump in real quickly, and then you can go on, because I wanted to say that what you just talked about, the little snippet you gave, with technology as it's moved on, Neil has jumped into that and grabbed a hold of this Adobe Pro. Just give us a couple more minutes on that, because it's very interesting.
Wow. Well, it's a little bit, I tend to just make it he's quite the geek. So I try to get it into something that people can access, and go, okay, yeah, I get what video is, and I get what hopefully you know what post-production. So the shooting of the video is just a small part of creating a finished motion media piece, whether it's a YouTube video or a you know, an advertisement or a full-length movie. So his specific area of expertise is in the coloring. And something that people don't often think about is that when you're shooting, say, a movie, and you have a number of cameras going, every camera has a slightly different color, and you don't want, when they cut the scene from one scene to another scene, you don't want to go, oh, that didn't look right, or one angle. Maybe you're showing one character, and then you know, turn to the other character, and all of that needs to look unified. So the colorist is the person who makes it all look unified first, and then they will apply a look to it. And the look depends on what kind of a mood the you know, director of photography or the director is looking for. You know, probably one of the more obvious ones when you think about the Lord of the Rings series of
Right.
movies, about how, you know, there were certain scenes that looked very, very blue, and when they're in Mordor, it's very dark and gritty looking, but when they're in Hobbiton, it's just warm and the greens really pop, and you know, that's all the work of the colorist, making those look like something and evoking a mood. So,
well, it's great we have people like Neil that can do those kind of things, because, you know, it's so important when people are looking for help with all that he's a resource. And so that's another reason they can reach out to you for things.
Right. He is, he's a consultant. His primary thing that he does is a consultant to people who are trying to learn or have a problem with the software.
Wow.
You know, sometimes you go, why is the software not doing what I want it to do? And
right.
And he can ask the right questions and usually figure out what the problem is. Maybe they need a new computer. Maybe they, you know, anyway, there's all kinds of.
No, that's awesome. Well, listen, let's jump back to Santa with the time we have left here.
Okay.
Because I love that. So continue. We want to make sure we've covered all the information. Now start by telling people, when are you going to start taking the Santa Experience photos, and when does that happen?
Well, I'm doing a a Christmas in July special right now. So this is like the lowest price, that I think it's $199 right now. So, and I only have a couple of spots left, but I do have a couple of spots. And if they, you know, Santa has more time in July than he does in December, as you might expect. So, and the children, you know, they don't think it's odd to be meeting with Santa. They're happy to meet with Santa at any time.
Oh, yeah.
So, so I do have that now, but I try to be mostly done with Santa photographs before December hits, because, you know, you want to have your finished product and your art to enjoy for the holiday season. And in order to do that, we need to do it before Christmas. So, or before December, usually. I do some sessions during December as well, but it's a little trickier because Santa, as you can imagine, is very, very busy.
Yeah, he is, I'm sure. Well, you've got your July special going on now.
Yes.
So July is almost over. So then do you take a little bit of break and then kick back up when?
September, really.
Okay.
I think I may have something scheduled in August, but I do. September, October, November are the big busy months for doing Santa photos. And do you want me to show people, you know, what some of my images look like?
Sure.
Is there a way that I can share this? That I can.
Oh, actually, we can't share on here. No, no, unfortunately, we can't. Yeah, if we would have set it up ahead of time, we'll think about that next time.
Okay, that sounds good.
But let me tell you that everybody needs to know that all of Miriam's information is in the comments, the show notes. You go directly to her, and she'll give that here at the end. And her LinkedIn has been ticking along the bottom. So there's all kinds of ways to get in touch with her to see those photos and get more information on it. So how many years have you been doing the Santa experience now?
Okay. So I had been doing, I've been doing little mini sessions for quite a few years. I can't remember even what it was, probably around 2004 or something that I first did my Santa photos, but
Wow.
They were just little 15-minute sessions.
Right.
I always tried to do a little bit of storytelling in it, but it wasn't anything like the Santa experience. It was 2017 that I really decided to, it was time to make it something bigger and better.
Yeah, that's awesome. That is so good. Well, I love it. I love Christmas too and everything about it. So that's so amazing. So, well, Miriam, listen, what I want you to do is to give us your gold nugget of today, what you really want people to remember from today's. If there's any information we've left out about any of your photography, please add that in, and then remind everybody how they get in touch with you.
How do they get in touch with me? There are so many ways. Oh my gosh, do you want to text me? Do you want to call? No, I love it when people call, and 503-910-1517 is my cell phone number. So it's either texting, because I know a lot of people don't like to call. They would rather text. So that is a number that you can text to. But if you just want to see some of the images, go to our website, haugensgallery.com, and it's gallery with an I, not a Y. And then you'll see Santa experience, you'll see personal branding, you'll see all the different things. And of course, social media. I'm on Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn, all the things.
Perfect. And what do you really want? What is your gold nugget of today? How do you want people what do you want them to remember from today?
What do I want them to remember from today? That you're special, that you are a child of God.
Amen. Amen. That is so great. And Santa is too, by the way, everybody. And Santa is clearly here because we have the Santa in July special going on here for the rest of this week. So people need to jump in and take advantage of that. And so we're so thankful for you being here today, Miriam. I am going to wrap things up. I'm going to do the Scott and Russ wrap up by myself. And then I'm going to send you to the green room, but hang tight. After we wrap up, we'll chat.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow. I tell you, she is an amazing lady, everybody. You definitely need to get in touch with Miriam today. Her LinkedIn's been ticking along the bottom. The comments and the show notes have all of her connection links, including Haugen's Gallery with an I, and .com. Make sure you go check that out and give her a call. I'm just so thankful today that you're all here. And we're here every Monday, 9 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time for your listening and viewing pleasure. And don't forget, this converts to audio podcast, and it also converts to radio. So it is on KWIL and KYKN, the Experience Radio Network. And so we're so thankful that you're all here today. And we'll be here next week again. Both Scott and I will be back. And until then, pray you have a blessed and amazing week. And we'll talk to you later. See you, everybody. Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to The Experience Local with Russ and Scott. Listen to the program on Spotify or wherever you listen to find podcasts. Join in every Monday live at 9 a.m. Pacific on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. We look forward to seeing you next time on The Experience Local with Russ and Scott.